This video is brought to you by Audible. The mysteries hiding in the untamed wilderness of Hyrule are some of Breath of the Wild's most exciting elements. I've previously covered on the channel the mysteries of the Forgotten Temple, a vast, decaying palace hidden deep in a great ravine, and Mekar Island, an apparently empty, isolated landmass found west of the Korok Forest, with only a lone tree and an extinguished campfire, which at night crawls with the undead. But these two aren't the only mysterious places in Breath of the Wild's overworld. There are many places which seem to have a greater purpose or meaning than we can see in the game. And who better to cover strange places in Hyrule with than Nintendo Black Crisis?
Hyrule is packed with strange, silent places, the stories behind which we can only wonder. Ruins like those of the Shadow Hamlet, a strange little settlement on the slopes of Death Mountain now inhabited by only a single Wizrobe. Or Typhlo Ruins, the deserted city perpetually enshrouded in blackness. These locations add to the wonder that is Breath of the Wild's Hyrule, so let's go through 5 of the most interesting.
So subscribe if you haven't already for more Zelda content, and let's get into it. Zelda's resentment is one of the most interesting memories found in Breath of the Wild, giving us an insight into the relationship between Link and Zelda, with the princess expressing her frustration at the hero and her failure to unlock the secrets of the Sheikah. But one of the most interesting parts of the memory isn't the dialogue or the characters, it's the location. It takes place at the Tenar Koshar Shrine, overlooking Tanagar Canyon, where Zelda is fruitlessly attempting to access the ancient dungeon using the Sheikah Slate. But surrounding this shrine are massive stone columns, the ruins of a forgotten palace or temple. These ruins are incredibly numerous and incredibly large, found on top of multiple hills in the area, including gigantic stone pillars surrounding the Tabantha Tower. Creating a champion includes concept artwork for more complete versions of the ancient columns, but in-game we can only see a faint outline of what these buildings once were. What makes these ruins mysterious is that, alongside the Forgotten Temple, the Goddess Springs, Lanayru Promenade and a handful of other smaller ruins, the ancient columns date back to before Skyward Sword, the very beginning of the Zelda timeline. All of these ruins feature the same designs, including those of a loft wing and of 2 leaves. This loft wing design can be found across many structures in Skyward Sword, including Sky Keep and the Sealed Temple, and the twin leaves design in places like Skyview Temple. The Forgotten Temple is theorized to actually be what becomes of the Sealed Temple, the 3 Goddess Springs are identical to the Earth and Skyview Springs, and Lanayru Promenade was an ancient parade ground, likely used for pilgrimages to the Spring of Wisdom on Mount Lanayru. However, what structure the ancient columns originally formed is unclear. Judging from how far across the area these ruins spread, and the sheer scale of some of the stone pillars, these forgotten structures must have been some of the most majestic Hyrule has ever seen.
The Bottomless Swamp houses a full-on enemy encampment, rewarding Link with rupees and equipment for infiltrating the area and defeating its enemies. It's found near the Flower Shrine, just off the bank of the Hylia River. The area is stained with huge pools of malice, and the ground is broken up with colossal ribs, similar to those found in the Gerudo Desert, Bone Pond, and other locations. Piles of the great skull-shaped rocks, which bokoblins make their homes, are found scattered all across the area, which is almost entirely dominated by the feature which gives it its name, a bottomless bog. The murky depths of the swamp will drown Link if he tries to cross it, though it isn't actually bottomless as objects will hit the bottom a few meters down. However, the most notable feature is the main enemy encampment, which is found within a gigantic skull-shaped rock. Unlike the smaller counterparts, which appear to be based off of bokoblin skulls, this rock is many times larger, and features massive curved horns and cruel sharp eyes.
It's interesting that this rock actually sort of resembles the skull of a familiar evil in the Zelda series.
Volvagia, the boss of Ocarina of Time's Fire Temple, an ancient dragon resurrected by Ganon to assail the Gorons.
The horns are similar and the eyes and nose are almost identical, the main differences being the large bottom jaw and forehead horn of Breath of the Wild's skull, as well as the sheer size of it.
Bottomless Swamp's skull appears to be made of pure stone, like the smaller Bokoblin skulls, but whether this was originally the real skull of a colossal monster, now fossilized and turned to stone, is unclear.
Every year at the holidays, I make a point of revisiting my favourite fantasy series, The Name of the Wind and the Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss, and this year I've been listening to the audiobooks using Audible. It's great because I don't have to allocate time to it. I've been listening to the audiobooks while playing games or cooking. The Kingkiller Chronicle tells the story of Kvothe, who retells the tragic tale of his life. If you'd like to try out Audible, you can grab Name of the Wind for free with a 30-day free trial by heading over to audible.com/Zeltic. Audible makes it really easy to just zone out and listen to your favourite stories, with options to add bookmarks, jump to different chapters, even change the reading speed. You can start listening with a 30-day Audible trial, so grab yourself one audiobook and 2 Audible originals absolutely free. Jump over to audible.com/Zeltic or text Zeltic to 500 500. Goron City in Breath of the Wild is one of the most memorable iterations of the mountain settlement in the series, built into a natural crevice in the volcano, with bridges crossing a river of lava. Like the Gorons themselves, the city is crude but practical, with houses and shops made from small piles of rocks and simple metal. Looming over the settlement is a high mountainside, into which the likenesses of 4 Goron heroes are carved. On the southern side of the cliff is a Goron who's hard to identify, with a goofy grin and a thumbs up, but the other 3 directly overlooking the city are far easier to tell. The largest, standing above all others, is Daruk, the Goron champion, and it's this statue that sparks a memory for Link about Varudania's pilot. But the other 2 will be familiar to those who've played Majora's Mask: Darmani, complete with his unique hairstyle and bead necklace, and the Goron Elder's son. Majora's Mask of course takes place in Termina, a land completely separate to Hyrule. The newest information we have from Hyrule Encyclopedia claims that Termina is a strange, magical dimension partially created by the thoughts and delusions of the Skull Kid, though the truth of this is debatable. In any case, Termina is not Hyrule. It's an entirely separate land with a unique history, religion and population, though many of the characters found there are counterparts to Hylians. Darmani III is a famous Goron hero in Termina, a veteran and courageous warrior. He attempted to save his people, who suffered in the unnatural eternal winter that plagued their village, but was knocked off of a cliff by a blizzard, falling to his death. Darmani haunts his own grave, racked with regret for failing to save his people, but Link can take up his mantle using the Goron mask, containing Darmani's powers, killing the masked mechanical monster Goat, and rescuing Snowhead's giant, finally allowing spring to grace the region. Also found in Goron Village is the Goron Elder, the wizened patriarch of the tribe, who's become frozen solid by the icy cold. His son, an infant, cries without his dad, and Link must soothe the youngster with the Goron lullaby. But these 2 characters, found in the parallel land of Termina, are somehow carved into this cliff in Breath of the Wild's Hyrule, at least 10,000 years after the Hero of Time ventured into Termina. How is this possible? These cliffs were likely carved shortly before the Great Calamity, judging by Daruk's presence on the mountain, but how would the stonemasons know about Darmani and the Goron Elder's son? Even if they did know, somehow, about Darmani, a powerful Goron hero from another world, why would they carve the likeness of the infant son of the Goron Elder into the mountain? In all likelihood, this is just an Easter egg, familiar characters that Zelda fans will recognise. But it seems strange that these two were chosen, characters which it should be pretty much impossible for Breath of the Wild's Gorons to know about. Why not Darunia, the Goron chief and sage of fire from Ocarina of Time, for whom a divine beast is named? Why these particular Gorons are found carved into this mountain will likely remain a mystery.
At the peak of Tough Mountain, overlooking the tranquil seaside Lurelin village, lies the Lover's Pond. Shaped perfectly like the symbol of a heart, this pond attracts travelers from across the kingdom who wish to find their one true love. Two NPCs can be found on opposite sides of the pond, the Hylian Wabin and the Gerudo Purta, and by bringing the blue nightshade from the man to the woman, Link can bring the couple together, earning himself some rupees for his trouble. But northeast from here, atop Ebon Mountain overlooking Hateno village, another heart-shaped pond can be found. However, this heart is broken into two, and there's no side quest associated with it. The NPC found here, Mimos, states that he thought that this was the Sweetheart's Pond everyone talks about, but maybe he's in the wrong place. Link can try and spur Mimos on, telling him to believe in himself and to try another pond, but the Hylian just won't. For the entire game, he'll just stand by this broken heart pond, wondering when he'll meet his soulmate. Aside from the pond and Mimos, there's nothing of significance up here. No Koroks or even shrines. But a small group of fairies spawn on the water, one of very few locations in the game outside of fairy fountains. It's strange that there's no quest here. Perhaps if Link had already been to the True Lover's Pond, he'd be able to direct Mimos there for a reward. But no. Mimos waits by the Heartbreak Pond, doomed to be alone forever.
The Eighth Heroine is one of Breath of the Wild's most famous mysteries. Found in the east of the Gerudo Desert are 7 gargantuan stone statues, representing 7 legendary Gerudo warriors. They feature in a quest, where by moving 7 orbs found in the area to pedestals, a shrine will reveal itself. However, according to Bozai, there exists an 8th heroine, expunged from history, all records wiped and forgotten. This statue can actually be found far north in the Gerudo Highlands, with its back to a cliff, alone in the snow, interestingly missing its blade. The 7 heroine statues all feature Gerudo text, which translates to the 7 sages, and interestingly, the 8th features the same text, though it's mirrored. Whoever the heroines were, or why an 8th existed and was wiped from the history books, is one of the biggest mysteries in Breath of the Wild. However, not only is the statue's identity a mystery, but the fact that it's found in the Gerudo Highlands at all is seemingly impossible. If this statue was moved away from the other ones, how? It's hundreds of feet tall, and somehow is found across the steep, snowy peaks of the Highlands, miles from the statues of the 7. And perhaps even stranger, atop one of the highest peaks in the Highlands, a gigantic sword is found. The missing sword of the 8th heroine. It's buried deep into the ground. Judging by the size of the statue, it must be buried many feet into the rock to appear like this. Why or how is it found here, atop a mountain? If the statue of the 8th heroine was originally found in the Gerudo Desert, how was it moved to its new location? If it was via conventional means, it would require thousands of people or animals and an incredibly long time. Far more effort than it would take to simply destroy the statue when the records of the 8th heroine were expunged. If it was moved via magic or perhaps Sheikah technology, why is its sword found so far away, embedded incredibly deep into a mountain? Was it dropped somehow during transport of the statue? Or was the statue deliberately disarmed as some sort of superstitious precaution? The mystery of the 8th heroine, and of its location, is a mystery I'd love to see further explored in the sequel. It seems so purposeful, yet the true reasons behind it are unclear, and the location of its sword is perhaps the strangest piece of the puzzle.
Thanks for watching this video. We've covered 5 more bizarre places in Breath of the Wild over on my channel, link in the description or card in the top right.
If you like this video, leave a like or subscribe if you haven't already for more Zelda content. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next time.